Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. It's a Monday after Everton have won a game of football in the Premier League and scored 3 goals as well.
Could be more.
What a weekend. Fantastic. Absolutely delighted. Joined by John here. I'm absolutely buzzing. I'd have been buzzing a little bit more if Michael Keane would have decided to mark Richarlison instead of just letting him run behind them. But we won it, and that is all that matters. And John, it was for 65, 70 minutes, it was a fantastic performance from Everton.
It was.
And Goodison, dare I say it, felt like Goodison of the old.
It did. And I've seen some chitter-chatter this morning in the Shareholders WhatsApp group.
Oh, okay.
Because the association sponsored the flags yesterday.
Is Dan Friedkin in that, given he is the TFG, the majority
shareholder?
No,
not unless it's only the committee, so we should open it up and invite him.
Fair play.
Well, we did ask Farhad Mashir if he'd like to be an honorary member, and he never ever took it up. Maybe we should ask Dan whether he wants to do it. But so maybe the association should sponsor more games. But yeah, I just thought the flag display was great, and it started from there. It started from there, didn't it, really? The players come out sharp and keen, and with the manager's voice resonating between their ears, and Spurs just couldn't cope, really. And I agree with you. We've been chatting, haven't we? Had we got the 4th, then we might have scored even more and avoided the little wobble near the end. But fantastic. Yeah. I mean, Moyes, what's he doing? Championship players, at best, apparently, can't play football, but they look like they could. Fantastic.
Okay, fair enough. Listen, without getting in, my thoughts are well documented on here about our players, so I'm not going to go back over it. I just thought
he started that journey of getting the best out of them, which the previous manager found he just couldn't do. So that's good. Yeah.
Oh, I think said it all along, haven't we, that these players were better than
totally.
And when you take the reins off them a little bit and let footballers actually play football, then you've got more of an opportunity to get the best out of them, and that's what we've seen. And to be fair, the manager's been here a week, and the changing them. I saw the bits, and I think a lot of people saw the positive signs against Villa without the result. It would have been lovely to beat Villa, the first game back and all that. But you did step away from that and go, you know what, even though we lost and it's frustrating, there was some positive signs. We had more attacking intent. We missed chances, which we weren't getting. And could we sort of flip that and can we take that forward? And I think we did say the other day that he'll have learned something after the Villa game. And he did. He altered the formation. Who knew Jake O'Brien could play football? He was in the team and he's used Lindstrom wide. And we know that he liked Lindstrom because he liked him when he was at Frankfurt. So that's one for Lindstrom. And he sort of repaid it. He had an excellent game yesterday.
I thought,
before tiring, of course.
Yeah, and I think he was up there with a few of the candidates perhaps to be man of the match. And I think all we ask now, I suppose, is that we go into the Brighton game, produce another performance that allows us to believe that this is the steady progress. Manager hopefully then minimally for the game after that, which again will be at home, won't it? Is
Leicester, huge game.
Has a sprinkling of new players, perhaps, if he can make some decisions around that. And you're right, if you look at the Leicester game, we'll be, in theory, 9 points above them after that game.
Oh, okay, because
we're 6 clear already.
6, aren't we? On 14.
Yeah. And you're really starting to confine Leicester to being, it's not so long ago, it was like 1 out of 3 and a number for the other 2, wasn't it? And you start cutting loose from those. Same with Ipswich, who might start hitting the wall. Got a battering last night, and that won't have helped them either, will it? So if we're on the up, while others are on the down,
up and up,
just create that gap, and then start looking forward to next season. Really,
I think. Listen, it's early. We've beat one team, and we beat a team.
No, I know you can't get carried away.
Beat a team who were depleted. They didn't have any defence really, did they? Although saying that the 2 fullbacks play. And they had Dragerson in there as well. But you can only beat what's in front of you. And Everton, I thought Everton were brilliant. And they did tire, and the manager did talk about this after the game about, we have to do that for 90 minutes. And I think we put so much into it that's what Everton played like under Moyes. I was saying this, I was telling you, wasn't I, before that?
Telling your lad,
I was telling Zach.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's too young to remember Moyes' first time. And he was like, oh, that first half, the way we went. I said, that was Everton under Moyes at home. People were critical of David Moyes away at the top four as it was at that time. Fine, you know. But at home, mostly under David Moyes, we went after the opposition.
We did.
A lot of times it ended well for us. Other times it didn't. You know, we'd have the odd Everton 1, West Brom 4 and things like that, and Everton 0, Bolton 4.
That's
and
the one that I always
Everton 0, Wigan 3 in the FA Cup. Them things did happen, but they happen with a lot of teams. You know, even Man City got done 4-0 at home the other week. It happens like that, but in general, that's what I want to see from my Everton team. When I sit down in Goodison and when I sit down at Bramley Moor next season, I want to see us going after the opposition. Now, if we end up getting beat, we end up getting beat. But I want to walk out going, they give everything there. They got on them. I'm on the edge of my seat. We're clapping. The shots, crosses. That's what I want to watch. Now, not everyone might want to watch that, but that's what I want to watch. And therefore, I appreciate that. And I appreciate it. I've seen Everton for 2 years look petrified at home of going forward. Everyone stay back. That's not what I want to watch. I also seen us under Lampard be sometimes all right going forward, but then no cohesion. So we wasn't the answer. Rafa was the same as Sean Dyche. You know, I'm scared to let us have the ball. So it's been a while since we've seen an Everton team get on the front foot at Goodison. Carlo, we weren't there often enough, were we, because of COVID to see it.
Not at all.
You know, well, that was it, wasn't it? It was a handful of games. And then you look at, you know, before that, Marco, we were all right. At least we had to go at home. But you do sort of have to go back. Maybe Martinez at times, certainly the first season, we put a lot of teams. And Ronald Koeman, to be fair, Koeman's first season, I think we won 9 of 10 home games. 9 of the last 10 home games at home, which was, I think, 8 on the run. And then we lost and then we beat, you know, we won the last game that we played. And that's the kind of thing where teams should be coming to Goodison going, it's going to be hard work today. If they get a result, they get a result. But it's been too flat, too like sort of passive and defensive for the last few years, hasn't it? At home. And yesterday, for an hour, 65, 70 minutes, we were on the front, particularly the first half. The first half was a fantastic performance.
It was, and perhaps could have scored more goals, but we often talk, particularly when we're doing the business stuff, about perception can be changed quicker, certainly, and maybe even easier than truth or reality. And we saw, you know, an improvement against Villa, and we've seen a much bigger improvement last night. And you know, and we can always, we have to be cautious because, you know, this manager cannot fix all those ills. No, you know, within a few days almost. But perception actually contributes to the improvements as well. And so we need to get Goodison back to that. They don't want to come here. Those clubs, they've had, you know, Tottenham on the run they've been on. Under Dyche, it would have been, oh, thank goodness we're going to Goodison Park now, where everyone rocks up and gets a lot of the ball and all that sort of stuff. And they just were blown away early on, first half an hour or so yesterday. And that's it. We just need to go at clubs, at teams, and say, you're going to be in a battle. If you're going to get anything, you're going to earn it.
Yeah.
You know, and in the past, they've been getting it. We've watched so many games, haven't we, where a team not performing any better than us, winning with ease because of our approach, and our approach has changed, which is good.
I think I said to you before, I'm going to go to bed in a sec, but I said to you before, I walked out the Chelsea game flat as anything, just like,
is that what we are? Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah. This is us now. And we got a point.
Yeah.
I walked out the Villa defeat the other night feeling enthused.
As many of us did.
I've seen things. It's mad because we got a point against Chelsea and we got nothing the other night, but I thought already I can see a little change where we might get onto it on the front foot a little bit. It's not perfect. Of course it isn't. It's going to be difficult. We're going to need things to go our way as well. We know we need more quality in the final third, but when we showed it yesterday, Calvert-Lewin, Lindstrom and Jai all showed their qualities, you know, and when you add other people into that, you know, they get Dwight McNeil back with maybe set-piece deliveries, we get Irabunan back who drives forward, you know, and they add to that, and the manager, said after the game, didn't he? I think it might have been Will Rooney, I think, in the press conference, said something like, "You've seen that, you've got goals today, does that mean you can't, you relax now about bringing players in?" And he was like, no, we need more quality. So I thought...
Totally agree as well, yeah.
Yeah, just want to bring Ped in. Ped, I mean, we haven't really had a chat about yesterday together, but what did you think of certainly the first half, but also the way Goodison was? Because I thought when the fans got on it yesterday, I thought it was brilliant. It wasn't all the time, I get it, but I thought it was much better, and I don't know, I felt comfortable yesterday. I didn't feel comfortable in the last 3 minutes, by the way, but what was your sort of takeaway from it?
It's just that, like you said there was the players have had more in them, and they haven't been allowed to do it, and I think that shows the difference in the two managers, is that one's found an approach in the space of 3 or 4 days where the other one couldn't find anything. So, and I think the fans responded to it because the fans just like David Moyes and they didn't like Sean Dyche. That's just the truth of it. People might have respected Sean Dyche, but they didn't say they didn't like him, say they didn't love him. And yeah, it was a brilliant first half performance. Yeah. Second half had dropped off, but I think even when we've been at our best under Dyche, we're an hour team, aren't we? And then we struggle with when subs are made, and that's going to be the big thing now. Yeah. Getting that, I think he made subs for the sake of making subs yesterday, and I don't think it worked. Especially Michael Keane. It just seemed to complicate things. People didn't quite know what they were doing.
But he only made that because O'Brien was looking tired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He made subs for the sake of making subs, where maybe Dyche would have left those players on, like we saw against Bournemouth. So it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I get that. It's just a feel, isn't it? You go to a match and you have a feel for like how things are, and I think yesterday just felt a lot better. People felt like they were up for it and feel like there's a bit of optimism there that wasn't there under Dyche. And all the people who sort of, I think for the people who thought this team couldn't be better, I think sometimes you forget that kind of thing of like you said there, Jake O'Brien, like he's put him in a position that no one ever thought of, and yet the manager, new fresh set of eyes, have looked at him, seen like, I thought I was really surprised by his touch and how comfortable he was on the ball, and that's probably what they've seen in training. Gone, we can do something with this lad.
You referenced that as well. We put him in because he got us on the ball more.
Yeah. So if that's something straight away you see and go in 2 days in training, go, he can just play right back then, or a hybrid right back 3 at the back kind of thing. So it's fresh ideas. It's just being a better coach sometimes, having more eyes around you as well, not just, I'll do it just for the fans, Woney and Stoney.
Oh, let's not go there.
But it's better. No, but that's the point though, isn't it? You got these two fellas that you're fixated on as your coaching staff. Moyes is like, I'll get him in, Oh, I've got Lane Baines, he's a new fresh pair of eyes. He knows people at the club. No, he can tell me who's doing this and who's doing that.
I wanted to also reference Michalenko, who I thought, even again, yesterday, he was trying to play higher up the pitch. He's still got... I still think he can hear...
It's an invisible rope he's got tied to his waist.
Sean Dyche's voice in his head, like, I can't go too far, but I feel like they're encouraging him to get higher up the pitch, and he put a couple of cracking balls in yesterday, and at least he was offering. He still, for me, needs to see the space and attack it. But I've been impressed. I didn't think he was great against Villa, even though others did, which is fine. But I thought he was a lot better yesterday.
As long as his starting position's higher, and he can play the same role he plays, just higher up the pitch. I think there'll be loads of plays like that. Linson will be like that. Every time you get the ball, look to do something. Like for the third goal, putting that cross into the deep. We don't see crosses like that. Normally, you probably got to turn around and play it backwards. And again, that's the voice in his head. Coaching staff going, don't lose the ball, keep the ball, recycle the ball, start again. Go back to the centre backs, put a deep cross in. Look at all the different options you've got and you're a good player. And I thought that was a little bit different, but we were always trying to go forward. Yeah. That's the difference, isn't it?
And that's when you sit in your seat. That we got used to that and loved that, didn't we? That's what we talk about with Everton on the front foot. Do you know what I mean? It's not a case always of some people misinterpret it and think it's 700 passes you want to see or 800 passes. I just want to see my team pressing the way we did, because that engages the fans. And then the players feed off that energy. And then you've seen Spurs, they were terrified in that first half because the crowd were roaring and screaming us forward. And That's the kind of energy you want to see, isn't it, from Everton?
Yeah, and it rubs off on the crowd. And everyone did it, and even players like Decore, I thought was really good on the press yesterday. He wasn't really good on the ball, but he was good on the press though. That's actually what he's quite good at, being that player who presses.
He's not only tired though.
No, but he tired. That's what I'm saying. He tired. With an hour team, that's something that has to be addressed this week massively. Getting 2 or 3 in who can come in off the bench.
The bench even.
You know, because they had like for the players they had an even set of players coming off the bench. We don't.
Well, Mikey Moore, I thought was excellent.
Oh, he looks a very good talent. But we don't. We had we had 2 right backs and a centre back.
I thought Patterson did well.
No, but I'm saying it was all over the place. Ashley came on at right midfield, then ended up at left midfield, and Michael Keane came on in one position and went to another position, and it was all we need.
Well, aren't you? Sorry again to butt in just there, but aren't you sort of enthused though already that David Moyes has been in for a week, and yet we've seen Jake O'Brien in the team. I know he come on the other night, but he's in the team. We've seen Nathan Patterson, who
twice
most of us would have gone with, because he just has never ever been used. You know, Young's playing a couple of positions. The managers.
Well, again, I don't want to like bag him out, but this Moyes has been playing in Europe for the last 3 years. He understands juggling players.
Well, forget about the last manager. Let's talk about the positive.
No, but you have to look at it. You have to look at the differences, though. You can't just go. You have to look at what the differences are and how that's gonna drive us forward. This manager has been playing in Europe for the last 3 seasons. He understands juggling players and bringing subs on, which most modern managers have to do. Now, your subs are just as important as the players on the pitch. They're the ones who you can have half a different team finishing a game that starts a game. There has to be a plan for it. It can't just be, what am I going to do? Oh my God, let me rub my face and think of something. You have to have that plan. And yesterday, I'm not saying that let us down, but of course we looked weird anyway in the second half, because I don't think we quite knew what to do. But then the last 15 minutes we were literally just like holding on to what we had. We brought the subs on. It'd be nice to have like for like players. That's what I'm saying. Like for like, you can come on and go, we'll just bring Patterson on at right back, and we'll just bring James Garner on a centre midfield to give the Corey a break, and that's what we need to that's the next thing now, isn't it? That's where you get that little bit more of an even keel.
Well, you need 2 things, Pat, don't you? The first thing you
always
need
2.
Always 2 things. Is the players need to know what the style of play is. So again, that was sometimes debatable under the previous manager. And then the manager has to trust those on the bench, which is why you need to have players coming back from injury and go to the transfer market as well, because the gap between the player you're taking off and the player you're bringing on can't be so big. And one of the challenges the previous manager had was just that, but he couldn't quite get his head round. But the player on the pitch is really, really tired, and he's not actually anywhere near being the size of gap we're talking about. But I think you're right, and it's quite a subtle observation that Moyes has had to juggle a squad when he's in Europe simply because there's so many games around for you, and we've spent too long trying to keep basically all the same 11 on the pitch at the same time, and if it's not broken, i.e. we're not losing, leave them there until we suddenly get a Bournemouth type outcome. Well, I think some of his subs were just for the sake of
they were, and you
clocks down and things like that. They were all at decent gaps, 10 minutes between them or something. It was just about disrupting the game when game management almost. And
you can question some of them. You could say like, well, why didn't you bring Harrison on instead of?
I didn't want like sort of
bringing him on instead of another defender.
Trust, isn't it?
But it might be trust, and it might just be. I'm not quite sure if I understand his game yet, or what he can offer in this game
as well.
Or I need to see more of him on the. I mean, that's the thing. Yesterday, if we'd seen more of Harrison on the left, he could have come on yesterday and give us a little something different. And that's where maybe a full week of no game till obviously Saturday can help with that, because obviously he's learned so much already. But it's finding that balance of just getting those players off the bench, but. I just thought and you know what? Players looked a lot happier as well. They just looked happier. But one thing they need to do, and I don't give a what anyone says, right? These players are not fit to the level they should be. They are not fit. All this dice fit stuff, what a load of bollocks. Because the difference between yesterday and what had been happening before is players have just been sitting in. and not really doing anything. So what, you don't need to be fit for that. But what they did yesterday, God, you would have to be fit for.
The manager's referenced it after the game.
They're not fit enough. The Corey should be as fit. I don't care how old he is. He should be absolutely as fit as anybody if he was being pushed harder. And I think you'll see the Corey's levels go up. I don't care whether people like him or they don't like him. If you're playing that press, he is an important player. Whether he starts a game or comes off the bench, and especially if he comes off the bench, to supplement the press.
He should lead the press.
He did yesterday, and that's why. Yeah, I talking about him yesterday. It's like you can have a go at him, but every time we needed to press yesterday, the Corey was there. He was the first one there, and that's massively important if you're trying to bed something in. So get them fitter, because they're not fit enough to play like this. And I think that's a massive thing on the last manager. You're talking about looking under every stone for everything, and they weren't fit enough. It's clear as day.
JL23 says yesterday's game shows how bad the manager Dyche is or was, because David's got the same players and within a week playing football and playing to the strengths. But that's what you do. You go in and you go, right, what suits these players. You don't go, I only play this way and that's it. You look at Calvert-Lewin, looks like a different striker. Looks like a different striker.
There's a tweak. There's a tweak in approach, clearly, but there's also a tweak in behaviours. And every single one of those players can be potentially called out for not being good enough, or they can all work hard to try and prove it was the way we were playing, i.e. previous manager's fault. And that's human nature, isn't it? And some of those players won't be able to adjust. You talk about Harrison, Ped, he's going to get another chance, isn't he? It will be his last chance, so one assumes it's going to be in a position or a role that he himself thinks is his best one. I remember Iwobi, if he's so good, then he just needs to prove it on the pitch, type of attitude from a manager. So I think Harrison gets another crack at it at some stage.
He'll have to, John, because Moyes has illustrated yesterday that he's going to use players.
And he's going to see them.
And he's not going to sit back and allow every single player to be worn out to the point that I'm afraid the last manager did. It's funny because there was a weird synergy of like the last time when we had the last time we played that well was Bournemouth at home.
Yeah.
And we collapsed because they made all the subs and we didn't, and the manager froze, and he even referenced that he froze. I knew what was coming, so I knew to do something. He froze. Yesterday, Moyes could see what was coming because our players were getting tired, and also we didn't know what to do in the second half. We didn't know whether to stick or twist. It was like just try and control the game, and we started to give the ball away because people were getting tired. So we made subs. Now they weren't all perfect. They didn't all work. Certainly the Keane one didn't work. But he knew he needed fresh legs, and now it'll just, as we just said there, you've got to get that trust. And people like Jack Harrison won't be sitting on the bench. O'Brien won't be sitting on the bench. They all know now Patterson won't be sitting on the bench. Actually, I've got a chance of getting this team by coming on as a sub and changing things. And that's up to them to grab that now.
I liked what he said in the presser about O'Brien. He literally used the words, I needed to find a way to get him into the team. So, yeah, it was a bit atypical.
Well, I think
he pops up as right back, but his starting thought was, I want him in the team for these reasons. Now where can I put him? Yeah,
he got us starting attacks because he's good on the ball.
Yeah,
and someone I know who sort of knows stuff around it has said he's been the one Moyes has been impressed with the most.
Well, there you go.
In a short period of time, didn't realise how quick he was, good on the ball. So we'll see. It's up to him to develop it. And it's great. Listen, one game. It's one game. Not everything's perfect and it's not sorted. But it was, tell you what, there's a room for optimism regardless. It's about level of performance now. If we get level of performance from the players, results will come. Results will come. David Murphy on the Super Chat says, didn't you smell it, Ped? The nuts and bolts are better.
I didn't see any bolts.
More players.
There's no nuts.
The grass.
And the only thing I can smell by me is weed. And if I ever find out who's doing it, I'll kill them.
The which?
Weed.
In the ground?
Right in the Gladys Street.
Joe says,
it stinks.
I know it's Joe's a YouTube member, says, I know it's only one game, but could we see O'Brien used more as a right back to start like Lescott was? Well, he referenced this, didn't he? He said a lot of young centre-backs play right.
Well, I mentioned this yesterday. A lot of, and I think I did anyway. Maybe I just mentioned it into my own head. Moyes started a lot of players' careers at Everton by not playing them in their correct position, just getting them into the team. You mentioned there Lescott, Jagielka, Seamus Coleman playing right midfield. Loads of players started under him, just getting into the side because it was necessity, and he needed to get them into the team, and it might just be that case. And it's just a lad who's been sitting on that was his first Premier League start, wasn't it? Yeah. So he's been sitting on the team, rotting away, and this manager's come in and gone, you can offer me something.
His interview the other day, he said, didn't he? He basically said, I'm ready to prove now that I should be. I thought I'd play.
And don't get me wrong, I've never worried about Jake O'Brien. I've always looked at it as a long-term investment, so it's never really worried me, this thing of it's a terrible signing, blah, blah, blah. No. Don't get me wrong, the money could have been used for something else if there'd been something really needed. But I've never really worried about it. But I thought he was so comfortable on the ball. His touch looked, you're 6'7", you think, he's going to be juggling with the ball. But you could see every time he pitching in his head of what he wanted to do. I
did love the one in the second half when he just said, have it on the edge of it.
Yeah, there was that. But also, this is a lad who's played in a 3 loads of times. Well, not loads of times, but plenty of times for Ireland. So he's used to playing on that right-hand side. And I'd like to see, I'd love, one of the statos to send, I'd like to see if his position changed during the game of going into a back 3, being a full back, moving, He
was moving to a back 3.
Yeah, so.
The thing about modifying individual players and collective perception is that players who the previous manager didn't go near, one started and one's come on twice, that both of them have not let anyone down. And minimally, you've got other players then thinking, my safe place or my, state, my position in the hierarchy is just being eroded a little bit, And I think the thing about O'Brien, which for me was the most powerful thing he said, was I wanted to find a way of getting him into the team.
That's good.
And that can only come from what he's seen in training, right? And yet, previous management got themselves stuck into a Tark and Branthwaite are playing really well, therefore these other guys don't get a go.
It was Keane, wasn't it? Was the problem?
Yeah.
As in he didn't. It wasn't so much Branthwaite, but it was when Michael Keane wasn't playing great. Even though the manager was telling you he was, O'Brien was never considered.
No, that's right.
That was what was the thing. Wayne, I have to disagree, mate. But we've all got opinions, but we've looked at it again about 15 times before. Says I'm not a Keane fan, but Richie's goal was Pickford and him at fault.
Well, I'd say very much.
I think it's mostly Michael Keane. If you watch him, because the thing is, we're going to have it on the final word, but if you look at him, he's looking at Richarlison, and then he just watches the ball, and Richarlison just doesn't have to do anything. He just moves behind it, and he's got to tap it.
Just didn't run, does he?
Just ambles into. And what he should do is go with Richarlison because he's the only danger, and he doesn't. But we all see it differently, but I think he should have dealt with it personally.
The commentator on TV used the word statue.
Oh, did he?
Not specifically about the defence in that play. Everton players just being statues. Yeah.
I've just seen someone say, Scar Puck Gamer, who's a YouTube member, says, I feel like 35 points maybe. I've literally been telling you this. 5 wins and 2 draws would have been, or 3 draws of Moyes' games when he come in would be enough to keep Everton up. So we got 1. So 4 wins, 3 draws to go out of 17 games. So that's mine. Blue Cali, I seen this the other day, you weren't here. This is a question for John. I received a shareholders letter the other day to sign and return regarding the club's new finance structure. Can you explain it briefly?
If this is the last one that arrived, fundamentally it is allowing shareholders, and specifically the largest shareholders, to use their shares as collateral with financial institutions or as security without basically needing the club's permission to do it. Because there's some quite old things in the Articles of Association which basically allow the board to do everything, sort of thing. And that fundamentally is what it is.
Yeah.
Of course, Roundhouse have already said that they're voting in favour, which they would, wouldn't they? Because it's them who want to do it, right? So in the grand scheme of things, you make your own decision whether you're going to vote for or against, but it won't change the outcome because that resolution will get passed, and it almost certainly is, a part to getting the JP Morgan refinancing sorted out. So they're just tidying the house up and tidying the Articles of Association, really, and to be fundamentally arm's length for the rest of the shareholders. We don't have general meetings. We have a teeny-weeny little percentage of the business, and we have zero influence. But they're doing the right thing, I think. They being, for the club, clearly some individual shareholders might not agree because it may ultimately dilute the value of the shares themselves. But if you're like me, you've got no intention of selling them for profit, you're probably less concerned than people who do want a return on investment. So let's see.
Okay, nice one, mate. Nice one. On to our Premier members' comments. Let's have a little look here. Sog says
65 people for 94,000 subs. So
come on,
people pull the finger out, please. I'm not asking nicely. I'm not asking nicely. I'm telling you.
Yeah. 65 of you hit that subscribe button. Get us over 94,000 subs right now. Go and do it.
Oh, let's go down.
If you loved yesterday, go and do it. Sog says Dyche should be treated like Voldemort. His name should never be spoken again. But let's get on to the positive comments, right? Because it was a very, very positive day, Goodison Park, yesterday. Okay, here we go. Gary Wardardy. Adam says if Lindstrom can keep putting in performances like that, then dare I say it, he'll feel like a new signing. Spurs fans going nuts this morning because they announced a new baguette partnership but don't have any new players.
Baguette partnership. Official baguette provider.
And he also says, why was Refwatch looking at Branthwaite's challenge on Sun in which he dived, but not Toffee having the share pulled off his back? Who knows, mate?
Does anyone know what happened with the linesman? Did he go for number 2 or? Yeah.
I have no idea, John, and I don't really care. Also knows that he got off 5
just that we stopped the game.
Into the game. How?
Yeah, we stopped the game for so long. Not telling anyone in the ground.
Well, he can't. What can they say?
It's gone for an adjustment.
Yeah. Everton Viking says the first half was the best we've played in a long time. We actually tried to play football. True. And I think it benefited our players massively. Moyes has got the team playing better, and for 65 minutes got it spot on tactically. And Jai, Garner, Dom, Lindstrom, all very impressive. Special mention to Lindstrom, who for me showed a bit of what he's capable of, and I think he's capable of a lot more. Very notable. Moyes went out of his way to name check him multiple times. Yeah. When we play football, Lindstrom will be better. The negatives for me were Moyes' subs are so negative and silly, it nearly lost us the 3 points. He put every defender we had on the bench and dropped back massively. Opie Lensman. O'Brien was knackered though, mate, in his defence. I wouldn't have put Keane on, but there you go. He says also O'Brien was absolutely sound, early days or not, makes a mockery of whatever Dyche was doing. Ian says, I thought it was going to be another Bournemouth again, squeaky bum time at the end, especially when Richie scored. Just had visions of him knocking another one in right at the death. Michael Keane deals with it. It's 3-1, isn't it? No, you don't have to worry about anything.
Should have been a goal kick, shouldn't it?
Should have. Buck says a 50% win ratio for Moyes already. Blue Keeley says, thought we played great in the first half. Jake O'Brien should have got to the line for their first goal. It was go and watch it from the side. It's miles above his head.
It's a brilliant finish.
It's literally miles above his head. It's the goalkeeper 100% at fault.
Yeah.
Paul says, still slightly bemused as to why Decore wasn't hooked. Yeah, me too, mate. Lindstrom fully deserved the standing ovation. There might be a player in there. There is a player in there. Liverpool wanted him. They don't buy duds. Only they didn't want him to play right wing. He's an attacking midfield player.
His the applause he got all the way down the front of the park end would have made him feel good, wouldn't it? Because he's had a hard time up to now. There he is getting stood up.
Ian says, on another note, what a class Instagram post by Richie he put out last night on his last time at Goodison. Bring him home. Hello to Juan. Jez says, what a performance that first half was. I know Spurs were hardly at full strength, but I will not counter the idea that this squad is not good enough. I'm quite happy for people to frame it as Spurs' problem because it gives us a chance to sort ourselves out. Yeah, let them say whatever they want. We've played far worse teams than Tottenham this season and haven't beat them.
That's true.
Hadn't had a shot on target or anything. So Nathan says, hello lads, very happy with yesterday's performance. Feel like the old pressing and passionate team I remember. Still plenty to work on, but eyes always on the next game. A point or a win v Brighton would be great, as we'd make the gap between us and the bottom three bigger. Seeing O'Brien on the pitch and Jai gliding into space and Dom putting one away was great. Absolutely, Nathan. Bob says we were faultless for the first 65 to 70 minutes, but once fatigue set in, we started to make mistakes passing, tackling and goalkeeping. That said, what was needed was the goals to get the crowd involved and 3 points to get away from the trapdoor. And then he's put Deitch fit, really? And then ... Royal Blue Rich says, looking forward to a week of Toffee TV joviality. Oh, and you will get it, Royal Blue Rich. Barry says, afternoon, lads. Boss wing yesterday. Baz, give us a shout out to me granddad, who used to sit not far from you halfway line by the exit in the Upper Bullens. Always watches the channel at 3:30. He'll be made up. Love all the new technology that I can reach out to you, lads. He's 92 years young. Brilliant. What's his name? Have you given Tony, did you say? Tony, the shout out for you, mate, up the Toffees. What a win. What a win. Thanks for watching. Gavin says, all I want to say is Mangala's little lever in the build-up for the first goal.
It was excellent, wasn't it?
It was tremendous. The goal was brilliant. It was great press from Garner, forces Papasar to give it away. Lindstrom, good touch inside, lovely little dummy. Garner's back on the ball, into Dom. Little bit of jiggery-pokery from Dom in the box. And we're all buzzing. David says, morning gents, new formation was key. Boys showed up. We were almost typical Everton in that last 10 minutes. We never make it easy. Also love Richie. Jonathan Ricketts, first half was perfect performance. I'd make one change for Brighton. Drop the Corey for Patterson and play the Corey where Dukes was. Graham says, hopefully Moyes.
Play who?
Patterson. And then play Lindstrom.
Yeah, Lindstrom. Yeah.
Graham says, hopefully Moyes has seen for himself that Keane needs to be left out. Send him out on loan. Or so.
Sorry.
Can't get the stuff. Great to have
nice music though, wasn't it?
Great to have our Everton back, play hard and fast or go home. Paul Nealon, hello Paul, says get in. Ian says numbnuts would have settled for a 0-0. Thank God he's gone. I'm paraphrasing what the word he used. AJ says, I am now obsessed with Lindstrom's backflip. He did it and we loved it. Did you see it yesterday, Ped?
I didn't see it again.
Again?
I know. Well, I missed it. I was looking the other way.
Yeah,
Like
the way he
got up, amazing.
Yeah.
Andrew says, just goes to show you how good we can be. Moyes did fantastic with the team. Those substitutions were dreadful though. Replacing Lindstrom with Young meant we lost the attacking threat down the right, and Spurs backline could push up and keep the pressure on us. Also meant the Corey, who was dead on his feet, was the one needing to run onto the Dom flicks. Couldn't get anywhere near him, literally removing any attacking threat we had. Then he brought Keane on, who does what Keane does and causes panic, gives the ball away, constantly let his man run off him and leaves Richarlison completely unmarked to score. As good as Moyes was for the first half, I also think he's at fault for conceding 2 goals and would have been at fault. We won, Andrew, we won. To be fair to him, he can't be made responsible for a goalkeeper come flying out and not getting back in, or a centre-back leaving a striker on his own, to be fair. But I agree, some of the substitutions were a bit. Bill says, cracking first half, pressing and tempo was brilliant. Lindstrom and Jai, Garner, Dom all good. O'Brien making a mockery of him being left on the bench for so long. Just shows you these players always have more in them. Always a mockery. The idea of Moyes being a sideways... Yeah, he's 100 times the manager Deitch will ever be. End of story. Whether you think he's the great manager or whatever is a different question, but come on. He's 100 times a manager that Deitch will ever be. It feels good today to be a Blue. We need reinforcement, though. We do. James said, thought he could have changed Dom and Corey towards the end. Armstrong and Beto for a bit of madness might have taken the sting out of Spurs. we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Steve Carlisle says, I all simply compare that approach yesterday to the recent Brentford home performance. Absolute night and day. And Forest. As good as Forest are, that day, the approach was shocking. Michael says, weird suggestion, I know, but should we try and get Sterling in for the right wing? Has he played for Chelsea this season?
Played in the last game. Yeah.
No, he's on loan at Arsenal.
He's at Arsenal. Yeah.
But there was talk there binning him.
Was there? Oh, okay.
Or he's not happy because he's not playing.
Okay.
He
wasn't playing at Chelsea, he's not playing at Arsenal, so we should have him, sort of thing.
I mean, you are talking a little levels there, John, in all fairness.
He looks a bit portly, doesn't he?
Gary says, a lot of times it's just having a fresh pair of eyes. Bill says, Ipswich are the championship squad for me, apart from Delap and a few others. McKenna's done well to make them competitive, but will be surprised if they get more than 30 points. I'll be amazed. Sog says, Dyche should be... I've done that one of me. Mike says, Mickey was actually smiling yesterday. Good. Youngie says, Dom took his goal well, showed good feet and composure, much improved performance from Lindstrom. Hopefully he'll get confidence from his performance and kick on and show glimpses of quality and why he was coveted by some of Europe's top clubs. Illy is a magician on the ball, but also has to do the dogs of war work ethic off it. He's been our talisman in what has been another difficult season, but yesterday proved if he picks the ball up near the opposition half, he will affect games. Unbelievable player who will only get better under David Moyes. Let's Be Having You says, big 3 points, should have been 5 or 6 up before they got the first. So I was having flashbacks of Bournemouth, even though the dinosaur wasn't in the dugout. We've seen it too many times under multiple managers. Buzzing we held on. Deserved the point against Villa as well. Promising signs already after a week in charge. Dave Witch says, love the fact O'Brien blends moving like a 6'6" Japanese bullet train with such delicate feet. A wonderful sight. On another note, change is nigh. Thelwell has been redeployed now to mow the lawn and Moyes is hands on with the recruitment. It's one game, 2 better performances. But Moyes has already shown how a collective can be better than the sum of its parts. McNeil, Garnett and Tim to add as subs to add depth and more signings to come.
Yep.
I mean, that is a key thing, isn't it? Getting the most out of them players.
Totally.
And, maybe the improvements we'll see for maybe a Dwight McNeil or a James Garner or
Indeed.
People like that. Glenn says, Ped well assumed incorrectly. Dyche fit meant very fit and athletic. We all assumed, he said, for the Premier League. We all know Dyche sure has preferred 90s football in retrospect. Maybe having pints of beer before the game and crisps at half time was a mistake. Max says, if we stick to this formation, do you think we'll change and transfers from a winger to a more creative mid? No, I think he'll still want a winger as well, because you can play the winger high, can't you? Roy said it was good to see the boys out there enjoying themselves without a harness. Barry says, proof of the power of positive thinking on Sunday, and despite the fact that the goals were poor defensively, it is worth noting that Tottenham are the second highest scorers in the Premier League. In the main, the defence did its job. It did. Jordan Pickford had one save to make, which was a decent save, but some probably should have scored at 1-0.
Yeah.
Other than that, the goal, he made a mistake for the goal and got punished with a great goal. The second goal was really poor. Ashley Young has to close it down. If Michael Keane just defends 1v1 with Richarlison, it ends 3-1 the game. Brian says, what does O'Brien playing at right back mean for Patterson? Means he's got to work harder and get better, doesn't it?
And getting the team as a wing back, maybe.
No option. That's everyone. Everyone should have to work and develop. But I bet you Patterson feels like he's got half a chance of getting in now.
Yeah.
And that'll enthuse him, won't it? Jay says, good to see the lads putting hard yards in the final third and changing the narrative. I see what you did there. Tom says, it seems like Moyes is shaking the shackles off these players. I knew there was football and ability in these players. They looked happy and focused and they seemed to be enjoying playing football again after Dyche had made it a chore for them. Yeah, Michael says, Lindstrom did the flip again. Maybe if he gets normal. Maybe if he gets up normally, he wouldn't be tired after 60, but he's put joke. Paul says, lads, you can see that Richie loves the club. Do you see him coming back at some point? Spurs would have to drop their demands for him ridiculously. But who knows? Still scores, doesn't he? Still puts the ball in the net. Jay says, happy Monday Blues at last, 3 points and goals. I feel like there's only one relegation spot available now. My brother said it was very toxic at the King Power on Saturday, and the fans have turned on Rude and the board. They're done as far as I'm concerned, up the trophies, until they employ Deitch. Where are we here? Dukes will come good, says Mickey G. Chris Warby says, don't let McNeil anywhere near this team. Certainly not starting. Question for John. Oh, you've done that, Blue. We've done that before, Blue Ramcam. Blue 96 says, Baz, what was your overall reaction of O'Brien's performance? I thought he was great. Thought he'd done really well, mate. I didn't want him to go off, but I could see that he was tired, and the manager referenced it after, said he's not played. It was a thinly veiled dig at Sean Dyche, I think, and the coaches, because he said he's not played 90 minutes in the Premier, you could see it. But I thought he'd done really well, mate. To be honest, he's big unit, got his head in the way of things. I thought he's good on the ball. Tried to get us playing down the line. Played a couple of cracking little balls into the channel with a little bit of fade on it. So yeah, I thought he did really well. One game, innit?
Another one who now knows if he keeps up, the impression he's given the manager, he'll play. When presumably on the other one, he probably got to a mode where he thinks it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not going to play. And the whole squad will learn that over the coming days and weeks, won't it? That this manager's a hard taskmaster, but he rewards those who get on board. And it'll just accumulate. They'll all be putting the work in.
But this is it. I mean, the thing what you have to look at is, right, it's early again, right? Yeah. And we're not going to
go mad.
We're not going to go mad because you can't. It was one game. It was brilliant. But like I said, there was some shoot to record. I did say this the other day.
We did.
So I'm not changing any sort of narrative. There was shoot to recovery against Villa. Bits where you went, that's a bit better, even though there was other bits, And we have to just do it. And I said to John before, we go to Brighton. And it's about the performance. I want a result, of course I do. I want us to win. A draw would be a good result. But it's about the performance level. If we go to Brighton, work our socks off, attack the way we can. It's obviously David Moyes' first away game as well. And all that. Then if you get the level up to a certain level, then you build on that. Then, which means Leicester come to Goodison. You can really go at them and make it uncomfortable for them and get the result. That's what it's about. So we'll see that, won't we?
Yeah.
But it's up to the recruitment team now. There'll be loads of work on the training ground this week. Obviously, the players are off today. Recovery and stuff, but there'll be loads on it. And we'll go from there, won't we?
Yeah, and after this weekend, 4 out of the next 5 games are at home, including the cup game.
Yeah.
So that optimism, which comes off the players to the fans and vice versa, we need to build that, don't we? And Leicester is going to be a real big game.
Yeah.
A big game.
Listen, you have a look, don't you? All you can do is look ahead and go, right, if we get performances right,
the outcomes,
the results might well come.
Absolutely.
Leicester go to Spurs next week. Tottenham need a result. Ange needs a result. So they could rock up at Goodison a week later with another defeat under the belt. So it's up to us, isn't it?
Always.
We've got to go and just do what we can do. And, if Everton could beat Leicester, Everton, say we both lost at the weekend, for argument's sake.
But we put a performance in.
But I'm just say they turn up at Goodison Park in, in a couple of weeks' time. And it is as it is. So there's 6 points, like you said before, beat them. And there's 9 points between the two teams. They've got to go some to overturn that.
They have.
They really have 3 wins and the goal difference is dreadful. They've got to go some way to overturn that. So, that Leicester game's looking huge. I mean, their next few games
I'm
for
just
Leicester
looking now,
ain't great. That's all.
You know, from us onwards, it's...
Well, Spurs away.
Then Man United away.
Well, that's the cup. Spurs away.
Sorry, yeah.
Everton away.
Then Arsenal
at home. Brentford at home.
Yeah.
West Ham away.
They're not great.
They're not great games,
no.
you know, and that takes them to March. So, let's see. Obviously, things can change, can't they? And things do change very quickly. We've just got to build on this now. I think the next thing that'll give everybody a boost is to get a couple of players in. I think it give everyone a boost. And obviously, James Garner training again now.
Yeah.
So I imagine he'll be in the squad at the weekend.
Tim's training, isn't he?
He is, but
he's very early doors. Yeah,
I think there's a 21s game this week, isn't there? But I think they've said they want Garner to play in that. So I wonder if the Brighton game will come too early for him because they want him to have played in that. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah. Where are we here? Everton Vikings says the Lions' headset had stopped working.
So it was a tech error. Yeah.
Mick says, I'm so happy to see us play to win again and finally recognise my Everton again. Mark says, I thought the subs were the right players. Oh, sorry. I thought put a little comment in. The subs were right. Players were on the last legs, though the Corey should have came off. The Corey he couldn't run the last 20. Brian says, I think Moyes was just wanting to have a look at a number of players. Yeah, it looked like that. Do you think they'll bid for Richie? No. Barry says, afternoon, I've done that one, haven't I? Blue Keeley says, I just mean when Pickford rushed out, which he shouldn't have done, a player should cover the line. Jake had time. I think you just have to see how high the ball is, but I don't know. Phil says, not a bad performance with, as what Deitch would have called, all crap players. Yeah. Duck Do says, I felt like the players knew exactly where their teammates were and able to make decisive passes without hesitation. It's refreshing to see some speed in our attacks. I was impressed the way we kept the ball. You know, and then it was only when we got tired we did start giving it away, but we weren't afraid to just go back and move it through the thirds. Ian said the question for you all, do you think we've got anyone lined up this week? I don't know, mate. I hope so. We need pace. We've been linked with, obviously, Ernest Nuamar, but nothing's progressed with that. We've been linked with Tim Weyer, haven't we, today? So, Mike says, hi, guys, have any further details of the Bramley Moor Dock test event been released? I saw Everton have been drawn against my local team, witnessing the Senior Cup. Everton usually play the under-18s in this tournament, and I was thinking I could have that game as the February test event. It's a competitive fixture rather than a friendly, certainly for Widnes anyway, and I think it'd be a great way to benefit a non-league club. Do you think the club would consider this? Isn't it two? Haven't you already said though?
It's 18s for the 10k one.
Oh, is it? Yeah,
I think, and then then 21s for the other one.
Is it?
I think, okay. But they haven't really finalised anything, so they may pick up that option. So, well, 25,000 people. Yeah, which is the second one, isn't it? The draws this week, isn't it? The ballots this week, isn't it?
It's done, isn't it?
For the second game, I mean.
Oh, okay.
The first one's been done, yeah. For the 10,000 people one. I think it's this week, the second ballot, yeah.
No idea. Collins says, notice how Moyes changed the players when he saw their performance drop to counter Tottenham. Pity the Corey didn't get sub. Ken says, great to be there yesterday for the first half. Absolutely loved Njai winding the park end up after his goal. Great to meet Ped in the car park before the game. My daughters loved the Orange Club versus Mint Club on Friday's call. Why'd you have to come at me like that, Ken? Why? Why'd you have to bring it to me? We were just having a nice day, weren't we? Just chatting about Everton winning. You have to bring it. You've come at me, I feel like, personal attack with the Orange Club reference.
Imagine if you're from Baltimore and you come for your first game at Goodison and it was last night. So shout out for Baltimore Toffees, because that's what they did.
Shout out to Baltimore Toffees. Yeah. Hope he's enjoyed it.
Well done then. Yeah.
Blue Keeley says, if we're going for 2 or 3 players, think they'll all be attackers. Think with Moyes, 2 wingers would see us get safe early and maybe head towards mid-table. Who knows? But he is talking about attackers, isn't he?
He is. He knows, or we know, where the strengthening is needed. If you just look at whatever, a comfortable... Statistically, the defence is fine. It's not scoring goals is the issue. Yeah.
Mills, he says, didn't Pienaar score the second goal? Alan loved seeing Patterson get on again, then absolutely skim one of the Spurs lads. I really hope he gets a chance to prove he's good enough to play for us. Sure, the man, get his head down. Get his head down and keep working. That's all he can do, isn't it? I think he's, put it this way, I think he's got more of a chance now than he did have. So that's on him now, isn't it? Jake says, I just stood in amazement for about 10 seconds after Dom scored. The fact we'd actually scored a goal from open play, and people said this team couldn't play because of the quality of the players. Crying, laughing faces.
He's got a hell of a lot of discipline standing still after that goal.
They've been
I wasn't
sort of gaslit, I think, a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
into believing some of the nonsense that was said about the players. David says, afternoon gents from sunny Cyprus. Enjoyed David Moyes' after-match press conference. Great results. Afternoon, mate. Jake says, most of the Spurs attacks in the second half came from Decore giving the ball away. Works hard, but he is a liability. Their goal come from the first goal from Decore giving the ball away. Blue Keeley says, 4 points from the next 2 games. Fight your hand right off now, mate. Jake says, get Richie back. Blue Boys says, hi guys, just joined the Premier membership. Thank you very much,
done.
mate. Welcome.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy it. I'm sure you will. Right, last couple on YouTube. We'll be on More Than a Game at 2:15. I'm sure we'll mention Everton again on there. Game of the weekend. It's the game of the weekend. Why wouldn't it be? Scarp Up Gaming says, we're surprised we've not heard anything on Breuer's loan. Well, I think they're probably trying to do a bit of negotiating, aren't they? It's quite difficult. It's quite difficult to, to convince a club that you want to
send back someone who's injured for 3 months. Yeah.
But we'll see. Steve, who's a YouTube member, says, what a game, lads. First time I've enjoyed watching us for so long. Glad Moyes is back. We should go all out and get Richie back. Ian says, unfortunately watching on my sickbed, damn long COVID symptoms, upper body pain and feeling hot and splitting headaches. All I want to be is well. Hope you get better soon, Ian. Yeri Mina says, terrifies me that Dyche goes to Leicester and they have Bounce coming to Goodison. Stop it, mate. If Leicester sack another manager and bring in their third of the season already, then when they've got PSR issues, then they're mad, aren't they? But you can't, mate. You can't do anything, can you? You've got to do what you do. Emma says, the lads must be on a high after yesterday, having them never experienced, I think she means the new lads, a proper Goodison atmosphere. Yeah. Mr. Blue Sky says Ipswich were awful yesterday. Need a Chelsea win tonight against Wolves will give us the breathing space. Definitely. Charles Packer says fed up of the mainstream press saying Moyes is like for like replacement for Dyche. They're idiots though, mate, aren't they? You know nothing about football. It's an easy thing to say. Robert says brilliant result yesterday, lads. Good seeing good football and keep up the brilliant work up the Toffees. Thanks, mate. James Graham says the lads will have a great day on the grass today.
On the sofa, more like.
Yeah. James Mack says, Baz, I saw you on the stairs at half time, the Villa game. Never spotted you before. Was going to try and get a selfie, but you disappeared for it. Mate, at half time, you can see what that Bulland is like. It's literally about 7 foot wide, isn't it? Going to the toilet is like dodging. It's like playing Squid Game, trying to get to the toilet. It's ridiculous. Robbo says, hope your Zach had a nice 14th birthday with the 3. He did, mate. He had a great weekend. I was saying to James, scored the winner Saturday, scored again yesterday morning, and then we were on the way to the game, and he was like, can we make it 3 wins out of 3? I was like, I hope so, mate.
Did he see his thing on the screen?
He did.
Excellent.
He did see the thing on the screen. He did. And normally he goes to the toilet at half time. I was thinking, I don't want to say don't go anywhere because he'll be like, why? You know what I mean? But he did, he saw it, yeah.
Excellent.
Patrick, who's a YouTube member, says, up the Toffee Blues. Fantastic result yesterday. Tiredness at the end, but overall, is the Moyes effect, really. Yeah. It is, isn't it? It is. Emma says, just doing some decluttering and just found my Moyes mask from Wembley. Get it back on, Emma. Why not?
You'll get on telly if you do that on the ground.
Just do it. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's good times, isn't it? Good to have good times. Good to have good times. Yeah. I don't know. I just want to see us winning more games. I want to see us attacking. I love it. I love it. Right, the last couple. John says, Baz, thoughts on Richard Coney from Wickham. I think he's worth a punt. Powerful striker, and we could get him for cheap. He's only, what is he, 20? Is he? Or 21? I don't know. Something like that. He's only young, isn't he? What, League One? He's got, what, 2? 1 and 2? 1 and... I don't know. Someone to keep an eye on, but that's one that you'd get and want to develop, isn't it? But they're the... listen, I don't know if he can he do it 2 leagues higher? Who knows? But he's one to keep an eye on, I'm sure. We'll see. Right, we will be on More Than a Game at 2:15. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just leave this playing, go and get a drink, refresh, get yourself some food, whatever else you need. If you need a snack, go for a toilet break like the linesman did and pretend it's your headset that's broke. Do all of that stuff. And come over and join us on there. We will mention Everton and Spurs again on that, as well as the other football stuff from the weekend. 53 from 94,000. So if you haven't subscribed and you're one of the 1,700 people watching, just hit the little subscribe button. Thank you very much. Right, we'll see you at 2:15. Take care. Be good.